This video is going to be about my new scooter. If you have been watching my short format videos, then you know that I just bought a very cheap $200 scooter. I'm going to give you all the details about it, how it compares to something like an electric folding bike, and even when you compare it to some of the advanced scooters that you can see on my shopping site. If you click in here, I'm not even making any money on these links, so it's totally unselfish, just as my opinions on these videos on this channel are invariably unbiased. I'm not really selling any of this stuff. So if you go to the bottom, you can see I'm going to give you a comparison to my Zooter, which is just purely mechanical, as opposed to something fancy like a top-end really nice electric scooter that would cost you probably at least 10 times as much. At the end of the video, I will also tell you about my new storefront. This store, this spread shop, is amazing because it allows you to customize what you are buying before you buy it. So in other words, I create all these designs, but if you don't like them, you can resize, copy and paste, multiply, and combine designs to come up with your own version of my product, which is an amazing thing, and I have never seen anybody else do it. It's certainly superior to the Amazon garments, which are still a legitimate thing to get. If you click in here, then you're gonna get my book, and there are all these items I do recommend and pretty much have been using for years, as well as some custom garments if you are interested. So let's get to the beginning. So here is the beginning. This is why I ended up buying the scooter. As you have seen it on a recent video, I was badly bruised up because of a fall from the scooter. In most cases, most people just wear a hard hat, which does absolutely nothing. In this case, at least I had my gloves on, so my hands were not injured. But the legs, especially on the right side, were really badly injured. No broken bones, but you look at the skin and it's really broken up. So I decided to not ride or kick anything until the end of August. And that was when the idea of getting a really cheap scooter came to mind, because getting something like that is not that expensive, and at the same time you can zip around up to about a 20-mile range if you don't want to pay more than 200. If I don't like it, I can just sell it, but I think I'm going to keep it for a year or 2 years, and it has been of great help. I've not made any efforts. I've not done any weightlifting or exercise with this shin bone and knee joint at this point for the last several weeks, and I do not intend to until the end of August. So let me show you how I went about purchasing the scooter, and also, as usual, I am providing links below so you can click directly to a number of places. Amazon has a few of these scooters, Walmart has them. There might be some other places as well, but you will definitely find something on these two websites, either Amazon or Walmart, and I have links below. This is what I selected. My minimum standards were, I don't care about the power of the motor. It's going to be at least 250, 350 even better, 500 would be even better, obviously. Those would cost me over 200. So my price was locked at around $200. As you can see, I bought something for $179. I wanted about 20 miles of range. I would accept 18 or 17, but nothing less. If you have a 20-mile range, that means you can go to a store or someplace 10 miles away. You can get back on the same charge without having to worry about refueling. This scooter met all those requirements. It has 20 miles of range, a 350 watt motor, solid tires. My goodness, whatever the wheel size is, I wanted solid tires. Yes, they are uncomfortable. Obviously, inflatable tires would be a whole lot better. In my first scooter back from 2017, when I was a complete anomaly in Manhattan riding an e-scooter, that scooter had about the same wheel size, about 8 inches or so, but it had 2 or 2.5 inch wide inflatable tires, and those were way more comfortable than these get, even without a suspension. But here's the problem: when you get a flat tire on those, it's really hard to get to that rubber to get the tire off, hard to inflate it. There are all kinds of problems on these tiny wheels with inflation, so I would prefer to not have them. I'd rather deal with a hard tire and not have to deal with the problems of getting a flat in the city. As far as getting the motor, I don't really care about whether it's 250 or 300, it's fine. Wheel size 8 inch, 6 inch, whatever. I think I have 6 inches on the Zooter. It really does not make much of a difference. People make such a big deal out of getting a Brompton G line with the 20-inch wheels as opposed to the 16 and a quarter. It's really not the diameter that counts, it's the width and the kind of tires you have on it. As far as top speed, I do not want anything with less than 15 an hour. 19 miles per hour, fine. I never got to 19, by the way, but later on in the video I will discuss that. Uphill climbing, where you can calculate from the power of the motor what you can do. This is good for light and really annoying uphills that are not very steep, but they just go on and on. And if it's very steep, then you can help in by kicking a little bit. It's a high deck, but for short distances you can kick a little bit, or you can just get off if the uphill is very steep and just push it up there. So these are my minimums, and most importantly, I live in New York State, and if an item like this, if an electric battery or scooter or e-bike is not UL approved, then here a red text appears that says we are not shipping to your location because of the law or internal policies of Amazon. So you want to look for a US certification, and they have separate numbers for scooters and e-bike, but the bottom line is you just want to find a UL thing. So a UL 2272 whatever certified. There is also a European equivalent of this. That's not a UL, that's a CE, and that is just as good. I'm not sure what New York policy allows. They may not ship to New York from Amazon. From Walmart, I don't think Walmart cares as much, because I have seen, in fact, I have featured in a recent video a CE certified battery, and it was available for purchase in New York. So I guess Walmart might be the place to go if you want to widen your horizons. And I should say a few words about the other option here, because this scooter comes with a seat. $180 without the seat, and $220, a whopping extra $40 with a seat. I did not get the one with the seat, but now I'm thinking I might have made a mistake, because if on the long run you could just sit down, 20 miles standing up is fine. In fact, it's very healthy to ride standing up. If you have an office job, or if you are sitting around at home all day, I actually look for the opportunity to stand up for a while. I honestly do. 2 hours, 3 hours, not a problem. But if you want to be out there all night, which you could do with a seat, then you could sit down. Plus, you can put some extra charger or an electric backup battery or something that you could hang below the seat. So you can attach a lot of things. You could attach a basket to the back, all of those things that you cannot do if you don't have a seat. If you don't have a seat, the only attachment you have is a handlebar bag. So basically all the weight is going to be in the front, and it's just too much weight in the front. And for long travel, I really would have liked to have the seat. But now it's too late, because the seat is not something you can independently purchase. Or maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you can go to the manufacturer, but I have tried to go to them and they just don't communicate. I would suggest that you carefully consider spending possibly an extra few bucks on a seat option. You don't have to use it all the time. You can take it off, it installs and uninstalls. Maybe you have the base installed permanently. Yeah, it does look like the base is probably permanently installed, but I think you can, there's a quick release I see at the bottom, so you can just remove the seat if you don't like it. That would be my choice now. I got this one without the seat. So here are the pros and cons on this ride after about 2 weeks of operation. But first of all, if you've never owned an e-scooter, it's an absolute riot to ride them. You can zip in and out of stores, and I've been posting short format videos on my zipping, and I will be posting more of those. You go in and out, and you don't have to worry about oily chains. You go inside, you don't have to fold the bike. People love the Bromptons folding into a cart. What I like to do is just not fold anything and just ride in. I have a bunch of 100% cotton bags, which I believe are available from my Amazon storefront. I just hang the bags. I carry 3 bags, and that's enough for me to shop, literally 10, 15 pounds. The handlebar can easily take it. So it's an absolute riot. It's a freedom that you never experience with any other type of vehicle. Not a folding bike, a mechanical kick bike, yes, but unlike with my Zooter, that's the other positive. Acceleration is brisk. If you have to deal with cars, like in an intersection, the acceleration is way faster than you could produce on anything non-electric. Not even on the bike could you accelerate as briskly as you do with a motor that is only 350 watt. It's not a very powerful motor. I have a 650 on my Brompton, and yeah, it's great. If I switch it all the way up to the top, it can accelerate as fast. But without the motor, no bicycle is going to accelerate like this. No scooter is going to do it. So it's a really extra safety factor. You can keep up with the cars up to about 3-4 miles an hour, which makes a difference in intersections of the red light, at the stop sign, all of those situations. It's really a big positive. What else? It's just a very clean ride. Because it does not have a strong charging unit, it has a very small, light, and totally silent charging unit. It doesn't charge as massively as my Brompton Green Kit, but it charges completely silently. It's very easy to do it. When I bring it in, I charge overnight, whatever. It actually charges up to about 75% in 1 hour. I only need the other several hours to charge it to 100% because it's a low voltage charger, so it just doesn't charge the end of it, the hardest part, very quickly. But it's actually quite quick otherwise. So if I rode like 20 miles away, I could probably sit in a restaurant or convenience store, and in an hour, while I'm having French fries and a drink, it would probably charge up at least 2/3 of the way. And I could come back, well, maybe not all the way, but I could come back at least half the way. So you can extend the ride, and you can carry the charger with you. It's very small, very light. Then what is most important to me is the solid tires. So I don't know if I've gotten into nails or anything. I don't see anything on the tire, and I regularly check, but even if something gets stuck, I'm never going to get a flat. Now, I forgot to mention in the previous section that I wanted a brake that is an electronic brake, which they call an EBS. It's actually not even mentioned here. Is there a mentioning brake? No. While they don't always mention it, I know that I have done a lot of research, and here you can see brake style, rear braking, front braking. This is really laughably primitive as a way of describing what's going on, but you can see just on the picture that this is a scooter with a drum brake and an electronic brake. And this is what I'm talking about. You can see that there are no calipers or hub or anything here. So you know that the front is braking in the hub. So you have electronic braking. In the rear, you have a drum brake, and you see a little bit the end of the wire sticking out. Drum brakes are not very powerful. They don't really do much, and I don't really care because e-braking is the future. It's the way to go. There are no requirements for any kind of maintenance, no pads, no rotors or anything to be replaced. So you can brake as much as you want, which is really cool if you live in the mountains, as I do. And it's going to be basically braking long after the drum brake has died. The front is going to be good, and I actually found the braking to be really strong. surprisingly strong. I would say compatible with what I'm getting on the Brompton Green installation with a 500-watt motor. It is overclocked, but I don't think that counts when it comes to regenerative braking. This one has only 350 and it's totally doing the job even on the steepest downhills. If you don't allow yourself to accelerate too much, then it's going to be good even on very steep downhills. And I know that because I've been riding it for 2 weeks. So a lot of positives. Definitely for $200, you cannot expect anything more. Now the weight is 30 pounds. I wanted to not go over that if possible. This scooter has a bunch of alternatives with suspension. So if you want to get one of these suspension scooters like this one, typically they are either going to cost you more, but there's going to be some corner cutting elsewhere. And it's definitely going to be heavier. This one is actually worth looking at, and I'm going to give you a link below if you want to check it out, because you have front and rear suspension, and the price is only $200. I don't know if you can get a seat. No, not with the suspension. Or here you go. Yeah, here you go. You can get it with the suspension, but then the price is going to be way higher, and it's a really, really ugly design. If you want to have suspension, you can have it for not much more, but the weight of the scooter itself is going to go up. Okay, here it is. They say it weighs only 31 pounds. Well, that's a killer deal. That's a better deal than what I have. So make sure to check out the links below. Maybe you want to get something like this. This one is actually quite an attractive scooter, and it has a lightweight suspension package. So I guess I'm ready to trade in right now. Yeah, suspension would be even better, but I didn't want to go for it because of the weight penalty on everything I have seen. So apparently there are some exemptions to that. Now the negative. Well, first of all, the brake is way too strong. In a number of ways, I wanted to contact customer service. You can go to the Navic store page and you can send them an email. In my case, they never got back to me. So there is no customer service, which is actually what I expected from a Chinese company. So this is one negative. Number two, there is industry standard app. I think it's called 365E or something like that. You download it and that's it. It's not going to recognize the scooter. At least in my case, it did not. I got no help from the company. So some features are not available. This scooter is supposed to have cruise control, which is so important. If you're hanging on and standing up for hours on end, it would be really nice to just lock the speed at say 15 miles an hour and just cruise. But you're not going to get that without the app. There is no mechanical version of it. Also, there is some theft protection. You could use the app to electronically lock the scooter. That is also gone. I never had access to it. It bothers me less because I don't really want to leave the scooter outside, but it would be nice to have it. Definitely the cruise control I would want to have. Then finally, the handlebar is even more narrow than on my Zooter. I have a whole playlist of the modifications I worked on my Zooter, which has a really wide 26-inch handlebar. The grips are almost touching the center. You hardly have any space for anything. It feels really insecure at speed. So the maximum I have ever done was 18 an hour, and probably on downhills I could hit 20 or even 22. I'm not going above even 15 because it's really scary with these narrow handlebars and the rock hard tires. So that's a big negative for me. If you're wondering what this thing is in the center, this is not a switch. This is a little hook that locks into the bump in the rear, into this bump that you see on the rear fender. And other than that, it has a simple thumb throttle. This is the throttle. If you don't have cruise control, unlike what they say, then you're going to have to just hold it down because the app is required to have cruise control. The display is very basic. I did not expect anything more. It's fine as it is. There is a built-in visibility light front and rear. In fact, the rear light has a little brake light function as well, which is really nice. This is nice. They are running off of the main battery, but they are small, and the front headlight is definitely not meant for riding in pitch black darkness. This is more like in town just to be visible. And I keep the lights on at all time as running light, which is actually a requirement for motorcycles and gasoline scooters registered in New York State. And so it's a useful safety buffer, I should say, which I do like to use. Now, if I wanted to customize it, there is plenty of cable here to widen the handlebar and to move the brake out left. The problem for me is more like this one. How am I going to move the throttle? I might have to extend the wire, which is a bit dicey, and so I did not want to get into any kind of elaborate modifications with this one because who knows how long it's going to last. With UL approved batteries, it may actually last for 5 to 7 years. If it lasts for 2 years, I'm totally fine. That's $100 per year, less than $10 per month. I think that beats anything. The car, the bus, the subway, even the motorcycle is more expensive than this. So I'm fine with that. Other than making the handlebar wider, the only improvements I would add if I wanted to keep it long term would be if I had a seat, I would install something like an external electric power bank. And even though you cannot get to the battery pack in the deck, you can run a charger from the power bank to that hole, which is this one, and you could charge it. You could double the range. You could carry enough energy under the seat that you could probably go 40 miles on it. But I don't think I would want to do that standing. Can you do this without the seat? Yes, you can kind of do it. You could hang a big bag here and maybe hang it down here and attach it to the steering column, and then maybe you could add that power bank anyway, but it's just not easy. But that is one improvement you could do. You could attach a much more powerful light, which can be attached onto the vertical steering column. There's not enough space on the handlebar, but you could attach it to the steering column. So you can add various improvements. I would probably want to add ergon grips as well, which I actually have. I could add them on. I just have been lazy enough to not do it. But the original grips are cheapies and they are really not very comfortable. Although for 20-mile trips, it's not bad. The top speed I achieved is 18. The range, if you are hypermiling, that means accelerating carefully and walking the scooter on steep uphills, I think I can crank 25 miles out of a charge. Now, how does a scooter like this compare to say a Brompton Electric? You're not going to get a Brompton Electric for even $4,000. The cheapest one is a little bit above $4,000. So if you cannot decide between the cheap disposable scooter that is without customer service or any backing, but only costs $200, then maybe the $4,000 price difference might help you decide. Other than that, obviously, it is way more fun, very fast acceleration. It actually has a more powerful motor. It has a higher top speed. That's so funny. A $4,000 hand-built e-bike is locked at 15 miles an hour maximum and only has 250 watts of power, whereas this thing has 350 watts of power and no speed lock. I can get it up to 18, maybe some people can get it up to higher than that, but the official claim is 19, so I think I'm not far from that. Brompton is strictly locked at 15, and there is that whole problem of folding it, dealing with the nasty oily chain. I honestly don't see the point suffering with that. If you have a bike that you use for touring and long-range riding, I would take, just for the sake of having a derailleur system, front shifting, I will tolerate the chain. But for some kind of a comfortable runabout, forget it. I don't want to deal with the chain. I don't want to fold it. I've never folded this scooter once. I charge it at home without folding it. It's a narrow little thing that fits into any crevice, really. I don't even have to bring it upstairs. The landlord allows me to keep it in the lobby and just charge it there. We have an electric outlet. It's a way easier method or approach to get into riding something electric. And frankly, you're not facing much of a risk. I'm sure Amazon gives you a little bit of a money-back guarantee or something. So if you get a piece of crap, you can just send it back. And you don't care about long-running warranties anyway, because this is just disposable. But if you are nervous, here is a 2-year protection plan for 50 bucks, a little bit less than 50 bucks. Or you could go $17 per month. I don't see why anybody would want to do this. So if you're worried about the reliability of it, that you could just get a $50 warranty plan. I did not get that. I don't care. It only costs less than $200. Brompton comes in pretty good reliability, and also it is a handmade object of beauty that's going to last for a lifetime. You only need to swap out the batteries every few years. Everything else is going to run for a lifetime. The motor is not powerful, but at least it is reliable, and the average lifespan of an e-motor is about 1 million miles. So I don't think you would want to worry about that with either of these rides. So if I compared the two, if you want the Brompton for what it was designed to do, which is a neighborhood runabout, I think the electric scooter, disposable or not, has totally taken that market. I don't think anybody would want to buy a folding bike for that. Not the Brompton, not any other folding bike, especially something as compact as the Brompton that is really not easily adaptable for anything serious like long-range cruising. We end up modifying and refabricating our Bromptons to make it more touring-like. If you read my book, you know how I modified mine. Obviously, I have a ton of suspension. It is way more comfortable than it was originally designed to be. But that took a lot of work, and that's for long range. How does this thing compare to high-end scooters? Well, I'm not going to treat you to the more expensive ones because these scooters can cost $10,000. But say something like a Dualtron. Dualtron actually has competing scooters at the lower range. Check this out, a $500 Dualtron scooter? I don't believe this. Well, I would say I just bought this scooter for temporary use, but for anything long running, I would totally go with the high-end scooter. You have super classy design, last a lifetime frame, much wider, much more robust handlebars, a bigger, more powerful light, suspension front and rear, multiple lights. In fact, there are corner lights and there's like a more powerful headlight. This is a very classy product, and for 500 bucks, it is a steal. I'm going to give you a separate link for this one because you really have to check it out. Amazing, and much more massive wheels. Also, I forgot the cheap bike. I really like the electronic braking. I have no problem with it, but they should have put it in the rear. It is so strong. It's very hard to control it. You can very easily salto over the front handlebar and just crash forward, which is my biggest nightmare. So downhills are actually quite scary with this one because the brake is just so primitive. It's either not doing anything or it's really grabbing on hard. Sophisticated brakes with this one built into the rear wheel are the way to go. I mean, the engineering here is just light years above the cheap electronic disposable scooter I just bought. So if you have 500 bucks and if you want to sidestep the intro of a cheap scooter just for a couple of years, by all means go ahead. I mean, this Dualtron is light years above what you can get from a $200 disposable scooter off of Amazon or Walmart. A wider deck. The deck is really narrow on the disposable scooter. A bit more extensive of a fold, but you can expect that because it's a more robust scooter. Very nice job. I mean, Dualtron is ruling the landscape if you're looking for mid-range. If you're going up to about 5,000 or more, then I would go for something else like the WePad. But this is a really well-engineered and well-built and very nice-looking scooter that totally beats the disposable scooter for a little over twice the price. Obviously, you can go on Amazon, you can get other similar scooters. You might want to go up to 300. I think it's a bit waste of money. For 300, I would just save up an extra $200 and get the Dualtron. That's my idea, but just following the links I'm providing to you, you will be able to do a lot of research. Was it worth it to buy a scooter like this for $200? Should I not have just walked around for 6 weeks until my shin bone healed? Well, I think it's been worth it because I can use it next year as well. For the cold season, even against the electric bike, my preference is my Zooter kick scooter because the weather is so cold. I want every bit of body heat I can get. And on the electric bike, I actually have my toes freezing pretty quickly. There's something about pedaling that exposes your feet to the cold winds. And so you go fast on the electric and your upper body is warm and everything, but your feet are so cold. I would say for winter, I would use the kick scooter, but for the summer, this is the best thing, even better than the electric bike, because you don't have to pedal. There is hardly any body heat at all. You are just balancing, that's it. So it's still hot August here. It's going to be hot for another 6 weeks, and I break no sweat. I can ride even in the sun. The sun is going to scorch me, but I'm not going to get much of a sweat. I hope this has been an extensive enough, in-depth enough analysis of the scooter. And now I want to move on to my new storefront, which is an amazing thing. Make sure to like, subscribe, share the video, and follow the channel. So if you go down to my shop, I have a separate link for the spread shop storefront, but I also have a separate thumbnail link to it. You can just click on it and I'll show you what you can do. I have my major designs here. So if you just want to go straight to the design and not the products, then you can just click here and go to the design. So these are the designs, right? This is something I have made available on my Amazon storefront as well. But the number of items you can get here are far superior. You can't even compare it to Amazon. So let's say I choose this design, and what I have been looking for is a good baseball cap. So I want to buy this. I'm going to configure the kind of baseball cap I want to get. I would say for visibility, a white one would be the best. Red one would be really nice, but the design itself is red. I mean, it sort of doesn't look, you can sort of see it. It's actually not bad. You could use the red one, but I think I have blue eyes, so the gray is ugly. There's a fabric look to it. For my eye color, I think the blue one will look the best. So I select this one. And check this out, as a customer, I'm not in design mode, I am just a customer. I can click on the customize, and you have to click twice, I don't know why. But here it is, check this out. I can click into this and I can move this. And I can say, I can copy and I can like duplicate this. I can put 2 bikes here. Isn't that amazing? That's pretty intense. Or I can delete it, I can resize it and make any number of them. Like I could put 4 or 5 of them up here. It's just absolutely amazing what you can do. And I can go over to the design and add another bike. Check this out. I added my Brompton to my Birdie. So I added this on, and I could make them smaller if I don't want an overlap, like this. Make it a bit smaller. I could do this, and there are some alignment guides that help you set this up. This is absolutely amazing. I mean, I have not seen any other shop that does this, although I have only been on a few of them, but this is definitely worth the price of admission. So I guess you're going to see me wearing this baseball cap with the 2 bikes very soon, because this is what I'm going to order for myself. I actually prefer to keep them as large as possible, and I do not mind them overlap. I mean, it looks like the bikes are leaning against the same wall. Maybe this is a bike group, or we are out on a group ride parking at a restaurant to eat. So this looks totally cool for me. Check it out. Check out the link below and check out all the other links as well. This is it for the current video, and if you want more information on the scooter, just let me know below.
I'll be back.